What's goody? What's good? What's happening? Hi, what's going on? Those are a lot of introductions. I'm so camera shy, so it's getting. I suck at introductions. Fuck. This is a recap video. I didn't read a lot in April, but I read a good amount in May, so I thought I'd just lump them all together into this May video. I know I have another week left of May, technically, but I don't see myself reading too much more this week as I prepare for June and some things that are happening, so I thought I'd just record the video right now. All right. Before we get into that, you guys might have seen a couple, obviously more shorts are coming out, but a couple of more long form videos that are just like 2 to 3 minutes long. I'm trying that out because I tend to record all my thoughts about a book more than just 60 seconds, and I can't do that with shorts. So I'm trying out a way to also give you guys like my book by book play without kind of having to force it into a very condensed short format. But I'm working on that. So if you like that, cool. If you don't, hopefully it gets better in the future. Okay, let's get into everything I read in April. So April was a slow month for me. It looks like I read like 3 things in April, because April's just slow because of work. I'm an accountant, so taxes and shit. So what did I read first in April? Well, the first week of April, I finished this in like 2 days, right? I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And this is my first like cozy fantasy read, and it was amazing. It was so cool. I really enjoyed it. It was like exactly what I needed in a stressful time, and I just wanted to pick this up, be cozy, be cuddled up in my blanket, and just chill and read, and it was amazing. So Legends and Lattes follows the orc Viv, who comes to this new town, doesn't know anybody, but all she has is this stone in her hand that leads her to this rundown, stable-looking thing, and she has money, this stone, and a couple of small supplies, and an idea. And what she wants to open is a coffee shop. She wants to serve coffee to the guests of this town because of some coffee that she drank in an elven city somewhere else, and that's where she gets the idea. So along the way, this is a cozy fantasy, right? There's not a lot of like action, bloodshed, high fantasy, that kind of stuff. It's really just kind of her getting her footing in this new town, making this coffee shop into one of her dreams, and all the people that come along in her life during the process. I think you literally will not regret getting this book and giving it a read. That's my Entro Archives guarantee to you. Stamp that shit right here. You will not regret picking this up, reading this book. There's a second one that I believe is a prequel that Travis Baldree either has released or is releasing. I forget. I forget what it's called too, but I'll put up on the screen here somewhere. Now I know what you're thinking, right? Who's the baddie with the horns? That's Tandri. She's a succubus. And that's all we're gonna say about this. This is just a cozy fantasy. It's not spicy. None of that stuff, okay? None of that stuff that you're thinking. But that's Tandri, the succubus. All right, on to the next one. I still read manga, and I still read manhwa. So the next thing that I think I started this in March and finished it in April. It's still ongoing, but I basically caught up in April, is Mashle. So Mashle, Muscles and Magic, is about this kid named Mash Burnett, who is not an orphan, but he was dropped off somewhere by his parents, and then this old man picked him up, who Mash calls him Grandpa, and this old man has taken care of Mash in a secluded forest cabin for his entire life. The old man put Mash on a very aggressive training weightlifting regimen, because in this world, magic users rule above everybody else. Anybody who cannot use magic is killed. So Mash is non-magical, which means when this guy found Mash as a baby, he was like, you're going to get killed if I don't take care of you. And so he raises Mash to be this really overpowered, physically strong individual who all he thinks about is cream puffs and lifting, but mainly literally only cream puffs. It's basically a satirical fantasy similar to One Punch Man and Mob Psycho, Mob Psycho more so on the side that MASH is just very naive and dense, kind of like Mob is to an extent. Like One Punch Man, because MASH is just super strong. And it's hysterical comedy. It is amazing. It also has an anime out right now. I think it's like on like 6 episodes so far. I would highly recommend, if you want to check out the anime, then read the manga. It's really funny. It's really, really funny. And if you're just looking for something light, comedic to read, 100% check out MASH. So the next one is called 99 or plus 99 reinforced wooden stick. So the premise here is that there's this virtual reality game called Chrono Life in their world, and Jiyu, the protagonist, plays this game, but he ends up really sucking at it. He puts in money to buy like the starter packs, tries to join a party, doesn't really do well. The party leaves him. He gets all of his like goods stolen from, like he basically gets dropped. Nobody pays attention to him, and he tries to reinforce all of his weapons to try and like maybe get stronger so he can like help out and make friends and things like that. Ends up breaking all of his weapons, because if you reinforce it and it reinforces, great. If you try and reinforce it, there's a percentage chance for it to break. So he breaks all of his weapons and he has nothing left. And then he's given a wooden stick by a random passerby. And he's like, forget it, fuck it, I'm just gonna, try and reinforce this wooden stick as much as possible. And he just kept hammering away at the reinforcement. And you know how like regular games work, right? Like you do something once, it has a percentage chance, you try and do it again, the percentage chance lowers, and the adverse chance, increases. So he kept reinforcing this wooden stick, and it kept getting reinforced and wouldn't break until he got it all the way max to 99, like level 99 wooden stick. That's basically it, is how this kid gets overpowered in this virtual reality game. It's really funny. This manhwa, it's like a 3 stars. It's average. It's not bad. It's funny. The graphics are good. The story is enjoyable. I think where it's a little bit unique in a style of this is it's a comedic action adventure manhwa, but the author incorporates a lot of horror graphic elements where he'll make the characters very horrific looking and give them like the very horrific faces and expressions to invoke a sense of like thrill, angst, horror, whatever it is. So he does that a lot with the characters as well. If you're looking for something nice, casual, something new to read, it has like 52 chapters so far. It's not bad. Also, the chapters are decently long, so you can actually like read a good amount per chapter. Check it out. It's very light, very casual, nothing crazy. It's not a solo leveling, it's not a Tower of God, but it's there and it works for like, whatever you want to do. Okay, now we're getting into May, and May was a heavy month of reading for me, which hopefully you guys saw as all of these like shorts and my YouTube like like the 3-minute clips were coming out and all that stuff. May was a heavy reading month for me, okay? I started with The Name of All Things. I finally read The Name of All Things. I know I read The Rune of Kings last year, and I was like, I'll get to Name of Kings next month. 6 months later, 8 months later, we're here with The Name of All Things. So I read The Name of All Things finally. I started on the airplane, finished it at the Airbnb I was at. Good book. This is book 2 in the Chorus of Dragons series by Jen Lyons. Basically, the premise here, and I made a video on this, and I thought about making a in-depth book review of this book, basically an archived review, how I did with Rune of Kings, but I'm thinking of changing that up, and I'll tell you guys about that like at the end of the video. At the end of this video. So The Name of All Things follows protagonist Kieran, along with new protagonist Janelle. We have some of the old folk coming back, like Relos Var. We have Dervishar in here, Tereth. We have a couple of new cats in the ring. Janelle, Brother Cohen, Sinera. We have new characters and old characters returning. Okay, this is season 2 of your anime. All right, that's basically what it is. The premise here is that Kieran meets Janelle in a kind of an inn, kind of not a shanty. What the fuck? Yeah, kind of just like a roadside inn, and he's trying to talk to her because she wanted to meet for something, but turns out there's a dragon attacking their inn right now. I really enjoyed it. I will not lie. I will really enjoy the book. I enjoyed it more than book 1 because after you get past the foundation, like stepping stones of book 1, you just understand a lot more about what's happening in the book and everything. This book focused on the Jorates, the people of Jorat. If you want to know my full what I thought about the book, there's a video up here that I talked about it, so I don't want to like repeat all that stuff I said. Just know that it was a really good book. The only thing I found a bit annoying with it was that 500 pages was literally a backstory to present day, so it felt like we weren't making progress. It was just season 2 of your anime where it's a backstory, and then catch up to like present day, and then we have action and shit. But besides that, everything else was really good. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading the next one, which is The House of Always, right? No, it's Memory of Souls. The book 3 is Memory of Souls. So I'm looking forward to reading Memory of Souls here soon. So the next thing I did in May is I ended up on Amazon just trying to find books to read. Basically, I found Amazon's feature of trying books for free where they give you like a sample, like a preset sample of the book. And that sample you can just download to your Kindle and or whatever app you use to read ebooks. You can read a portion of the beginning of the book. So I ended up getting 5 samples to try because I was like, let me just see. I didn't know what I wanted to read. I was in Hartford. I was, didn't have other books with me. So I was like, maybe I can get some light reading in the form of like these samples. And if I don't like the book, I don't have to read it and I can just take it off my TBR. So I ended up getting Sword of Kaigen, The Forest of Vanity and Valor, The Traitor's Son, Night Angel Nemesis, and Fourth Wing as samples. Because some of those were on my TBR and some of them I just saw on like Amazon's recommended thing, and I kind of wanted 5 to kind of test. Night Angel Nemesis was probably like the weakest one out of all of them. I didn't really actually know. The Forest of Valor and Banner was the weakest one out of all of them. I didn't really enjoy what I got in the samples. I don't know if I'll actually I don't know when I'll try the book. I know I kind of want to, I just don't know when it'll happen. Night Angel Nemesis, they give you 15 chapters for a sample, and in my opinion, that was 5 chapters too long. It was just not needed. I knew in like 5 chapters, I probably wasn't gonna read the series, but it is what it is. It was okay. First person POV, I just didn't enjoy the storytelling, so I just didn't care for it. Traitor's Son, I'm going to read this one because it is basically like the far off cousin of Ranger's Apprentice is basically what it is, and I love it. I talked about the sample in another video here, and when I do read the book, I'll tell you guys about it. But just know it's on my TBR to read. The next one is Sword of Kaigen, and this one has me really excited because it's a very unique new action fantasy. Not action fantasy. It's a more of an, what kind of fantasy is it? I don't know what kind of fantasy to call it, but it's a fantasy novel by ML Wang, and it's so unique. I saw it put this way on TikTok on like a podcast I was watching, or like a clip I was watching. And they said it was like Avatar The Last Airbender mixed with, was it Demon Slayer? No, it was Avatar The Last Airbender mixed with something else, because these are samurai who use swords and other weapons, but the magic of this world is like these samurai have the ability to wield certain elements. The sample only gives you like 3 or 4 chapters, so I only really got to the beginning of it, but it immediately hooked me. It's set in Japanese culture. The names are of Japanese individuals. Dude, the sample really hit me. I just needed like time to sit and sink into it because it's a 651 page book. So I needed time to like sit and like think about like, okay, now I'm gonna read Sword of Kaigen. I'm gonna analyze out of it. But it's really cool. I would really recommend just by the sample. Like, I'm really interested in reading it. I would highly recommend you go check out the sample. The next sample I read was Fourth Wing. I have not shut up about Fourth Wing. I will not shut up about Fourth Wing. And the last sample I read was actually this book. Look how good that looks. It's Fourth Wing, okay? It's Fourth Wing. Let me set this here for you guys. One sec. So I read the sample of Fourth Wing, right? It was 3 chapters. I was hooked immediately. I talked about that sample already in this video. I got the book immediately. I got the ebook because I wanted to read it in Hartford. And then I got the physical copy because they had these special edition sprayed edges that I really wanted. There's no other reason. It's the dragons. I literally just wanted it for the dragons, okay? This book is the most fun I've had reading a book this year. And that is facts. Straight facts. This book made me, I was up till 3 a.m. reading a book. I never do that. I take my sleep so seriously that I'll even stop reading to go to bed. Except for when I was watching It's Okay to Not Be Okay earlier this year. That had me up till 2 a.m. every single night watching that. If you know, you know. This book had me up at night. It's so good. I finished it in 2 days. This book has been all over Book Talk for good and bad reasons. People like it. Some people don't like it. It's been overhyped. It's been really well marketed. And there's just a lot of reviews and thoughts around on this book. I do kind of want to make a video on this book specifically. I know I said I kind of wanted to talk about books as they come out in series, and the reason why I say that is the book 2 is coming out in November. The author on TikTok, Rebecca Yarros, said she's thinking about making the book a 5-book series. You know how excited that makes me? How awesome that would be? But I can't go 4 more books until talking about this one. So I'm probably gonna make a full video about this, just to talk about everything. And I'm gonna talk about the good and the bad, what I thought about it, what other people think about it, and what their viewpoints on, what I agree with, what I don't agree with, what I agree with, but I also think differently. All those things, I'm gonna put that in the video for you guys, long form, not short form. So look out for that soon. I haven't shut up about this book, obviously, and that's just me. So after I got off my 4th wing high, I was still looking for books to read when I was in Hartford, but I thought I'd give myself a little bit of break from all my reading and stuff and try and look at other things. So I finally got into NetGalley because I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've been wanting ARCs and trying to be an ARC reviewer for a while. So I got into NetGalley and I got approved for my first few ARCs, which is very exciting for me. The first ARC that I read was Fire and Brimstone, The Prince of Death by Emman Beck. And it is basically just a action fantasy novel. It's supposed to be, how do I say this? It's good, but it's not great. I think some people might not like it. It seems very rough around the edges in terms of the story, the prose, the plot, the characters. I just liked it because it was just a fun, casual thing to read. I didn't really think that deeply into it, because when you think really deeply into it, it probably wasn't the best novel. But I think it's a good, just short read, casual read if you're really feeling a action adventure. What I will say is that, Emman Beck really put enough things right at the end of the novel that had me asking questions to where I kind of do want to read book 2 when it comes out, just to have those questions answered. At the time of this video, I should have already released my full review of the ARC on my social medias, on NetGalley, on Goodreads, and probably even have a short or something out of that. So I'll leave the in-depth stuff to those. Maybe make a quick 2-3 minute video out of it talking about it. Maybe not, I don't know. But hopefully you have seen that at this point. And if you haven't, you can go find it here. The next ARC I read was The Sorcerer's Transcendent. This one is actually a novella. I missed the word novella in the book blurb that I read on NetGalley. So this is a novella, very short novel, 72 pages. It is a fantasy novel. It is a romantic fantasy that basically pits 2 enemies together in order to save both their lives from each other's respective warring countries. Varius is the general of the Aurelian army. Theria is the Sorcerer's Transcendent of the Corosian army. Varius comes up to Theria's cabin, bloody and broken, because he had nowhere else to go. Theria takes him in, heals him, and what we get to see is the interplay of romance, the unspoken romance, and then the spoken romance between the two. Bro, this shit was so nice. I read this shit in 2 hours on Saturday. Felt things. I was getting giddy. I was getting butterflies in my stomach. It was so cute, so adorable. I love how the author, Casey Blair, she made their teases, their flirting, very understanding, adult, very filled with I know what's going on kind of vibes. It wasn't the really annoying naivete of oh my god, does he like me? Oh my god, does she like me? Maybe he's just being nice. I'm not like that. They're no, these two have had feelings for each other for so long, and they're teasing each other, and they're doing things out of understanding for each other. Fucking love it. Loved all of it. It was so cute. I would highly recommend picking up this ARC as well when it comes out, the full book when it comes out. Once again, the review is online, comes out June 6th. Definitely look forward to this one. And that is everything that I read in April and May. It was quite a lot, and I really enjoyed it, mainly because in these summer months when work is slow, I can actually read a lot more, and I don't have to kind of limit what I'm doing. But I did want to tell you guys a little bit about what I'm going to be reading the next couple of months, because because I'm thinking, I don't know how often I'm gonna be making videos, like long form videos. I'm trying to figure out a video format that I like, that works for me. Because like I really enjoy my archive reviews, and I really enjoy the a little bit more highly edited, here's how to get into reading, and here's here's something new in the reading space that you can try, and things like that. I really enjoy doing those, but the ideas just don't come as quickly for those. I could obviously do like top 10 books you should read if you want to have a cozy night in, or top 5 books to get your, loins fired, my favorite books to my favorite high fan. I could do all of those things. I just want to build up a little bit more of a reading history and repertoire before I recommend those things to you guys, because I read a lot in the past, but I really only started reading again seriously in 2021, 2022. And since then, like, the way I've thought about books has changed. So I want to read a lot of books, to read a lot of new books, to where I can give you guys these comparisons and these this or that's and things like that. So if I would appreciate if you could kind of like bear with me while I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to get through a lot of books so I can give you guys like recommendations of, if you like this, you might like this, but if you didn't like this, you might like this, but if you like this, you might not like this, those kind of things, So I'm working on that. I am gonna try and do like monthly recap videos of what I've read, depending on how much I've read that month and what I've read that month, along with anything else that I find. I think I might change up my archive review formats to cover book series and not just one book itself, because I can understand you might not want to watch 15 to 20 minutes of me talking about one book and everything about it, and also that would contain spoilers, completely understandable, and you might not want all the spoilers, and I completely get that. So I think I'm going to change it to doing sets of after I finish the whole Chorus of Dragons series, I'll talk to you guys about it. After I finish like the Royal Rangers series, I'll talk to you guys about it. I think I might do that, and that might be a little bit better of a video, and it might be a little bit more enjoyable for you guys as well, keeping it a little bit fresh. That being said, what am I reading the next couple of months? So on my list, definitely reading next month are Hidden Genius by Polina Marinova Pompliano, because I've been waiting for that to come out for an entire year, and it's basically her lessons that she's learned from interviewing some of the most interesting and successful people in the world on her newsletter, The Profile, her company, The Profile, which they release long-form dossiers of interesting and successful people in long-form text format. It's really nice. I would highly recommend it if you don't, or if you're into just learning about people. You can always go onto her website and see who all they've done. Hidden Genius, I think, comes out on the 15th, I think. Hidden Genius comes out on June 20th. So definitely go check that out. I'm going to read that book the day it comes out and the weekend it comes out. That probably is going to be the one book that I definitely mark up, highlight, annotate everything. I haven't been into doing that much, but that book, definitely doing that, because there's just going to be a lot of lessons to learn in there. And Polina's a very, very, very good writer, in my opinion. The next thing that I'll be definitely reading in June is The House of Marion, which is an arc that I had the blessed opportunity to read and review. And here's the kind of blurb for it. 17-year-old Quell has lived her entire life on the run. She and her mother have fled from city to city in order to hide the deadly magic that flows through Quell's veins, until someone discovers her dark secret. To hide from the assassin hunting her and keep her mother out of harm's way, Quell reluctantly inducts into a debutante society of magical social elites called the Order that she never knew existed. If she can pass their 3 rites of membership, mastering their proper form of magic, she'll be able to secretly bury her forbidden magic forever. Sounds a little bit generic, but I heard it's really good, or I heard it's decent, just by like the other reviews that I'm reading here. So I want to give it a try, and I will let you guys know what I think of it, if I think it's worth kind of picking up when it drops, or maybe if it's to skip. Next one. This one is super cool. This is a book that I'll be reading later this week called Poems, Prose, and Throwaway Quotes. I know the author. This is basically a book of poetry written by a friend of mine, and I'm super excited because I love her kind of tagline that she put in it. It's so funny. Well, not funny, but it's cool. It's the antithesis of Live, Laugh, and Love. And I love that. So I'm super excited to read it, review it, and share it with you guys. I don't read poetry often, so I'm really excited to have this opportunity to kind of read something made by somebody that I know, add this into my arsenal of things that I like to read. So those are 3 things I'm definitely reading next month. But here's some other things I kind of want to start on next month that might bleed into July. First one is Sword of Kaigen. Your boy has got to read Sword of Kaigen. That shit is phenomenal, and I need phenomenal Japanese literature in my life. I don't know what else there's to say about that. And then I have 2 other arcs, once again, that I've been blessed with the opportunity to read and review, or been approved to read and review. One is The Awakening, and one is When Things Are Set Right. I will talk to you guys more about that when I get to it. The last thing is something y'all have been asking me to do since I made the first few videos on The Ranger's Apprentice. Y'all said, read Royal Ranger, that's gas. And I was like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Well, I'm getting to it. So I have the 5 books of the Royal Ranger series here, and I'm gonna start them. I'll give you my thoughts in short format. When I read them, I'll wait until I read all 5 for the long form review. And until then, just hanker down tightly and wait for me to read those books. I'm super excited. I read the premise of it finally. I'd actually never read the premise of it the entire time I was reading Ranger's Apprentice. And the premise, if you didn't know, is that you have Will and Halt, who you have Will Treaty, who's kind of the main protagonist of The Ranger's Apprentice. Will becomes, this legendary great ranger in his own right. The Royal Ranger is basically I believe, I might be mixing up facts, I read this like a couple of weeks ago, but it's basically the royal princess of the kingdom who wants to be a ranger. So it's like Will is now the mentor like Halt, and then it's this Royal Ranger individual, the princess, who's now like the new apprentice, the new Will Treaty. So I'm super excited about that. I'm actually super excited about that. I'll read this one probably before I'll read Traitor's Son, because I want to get as much Ranger's Apprentice as I can before I read Traitor's Son, which is the long lost cousin of Ranger's Apprentice. So look forward to those. Those are mainly the books that I'm going to be reading here in the next couple of months. And if I go back on my word and I lie to you, so be it. I'm fickle. But I wanted to introduce you guys to my 2 dragon bookends that my fiance got me because she loves me, and now I love her so much more because of this gift. I haven't named them yet, okay? I'm thinking of really good, strong Persian names to give them. And my good friend, my best friend, told me 2 names that I don't want to steal from him because those are names that he wants to keep for his kids. But Sorab would go really good with one of these dragons, bro. What if one of these dragons' name was Sorab, right? And then the other dragon's name, I don't even know, bro. I don't even know what to name them. I have to go look up a book of Persian names, to be honest, because there's just so many, right? Darius would be great. Darius and Sorab right here, that would be cool. But bro, I don't want to steal your name. So if you give me permission, cool. But if not, I'll replace this name with something. But these are dragon book ends that she gave me, and it just goes perfectly well with the Fourth Wing. It goes so well with the Fourth Wing book sprayed edges that it's super exciting. But I'm actually thinking about upgrading. And another thing for June, I'm thinking about upgrading my cube shelf that I have because I don't have a lot of books, and this is the best way for me to display it. I'm thinking about getting a new bookshelf, a bigger one, an actual bookshelf with space for more than just these books, so that I can put more on a shelf and maybe put these bookends in an actual shelf as opposed to on top, even though I love how this looks. But look out for that. I will be making obviously content around that and everything like that, and I also need to buy books. So if you have any recommendations on books that I should buy for my bookshelf, I'll leave them in the comments below. I will be upfront and transparent with you guys right now. I was looking for the entire series of Magi. This is a manga series. It's my favorite manga series that I want in complete physical English format. It would cost me hundreds of dollars to get, but not all of the books are in print anymore. There's certain volumes that are out of print and sold out even on places like Amazon and eBay. So when it comes time for me to fill this manga series out, I'm gonna come to you and I'm gonna ask you, faithful, loyal, helpful, generous viewer, audience member, one of my archivees or archivers or archivers. I'm gonna ask you to use your power of deduction on the internet and help me find Magi.
Please, I'm gonna beg you to help me find all the volumes of Magi. Until then, rest easy. I will not ask anything from you. I do not ask anything from you in the world except for to give me the link to buy that thing when I need it.
That being said, I appreciate you all once again for joining me for another video. If you got this far, drop down below what you're reading right now, what genres you like to read, anything book related that you've seen that you like, that you want to talk about, discuss about. I'm always open to talking in the comments, in chats, whatever you want to do. And until next time, I appreciate you all. Peace.